Hello folks, John Curran, Behaviour Specialist here. A wee quick video for you today. We're just going to discuss a couple of wee areas, just generalised areas that adult figures can understand and possibly take on whenever they're involving an individual who displays challenging behaviour on a regular basis. And again, look, there's a few generalised pieces that we can all kind of take on board in terms of trying to impact positively on individuals. Some of that might be centred around responses, for example, where the most common response that we're trying to say to adult figures is they try and remain calm and relaxed whenever you're trying to manage a situation by an individual. So basically your approach to a situation, your response, your reaction based on maybe a level of challenging behaviour or a level of display that you're trying to impact on positively. Now again, be realistic for yourself as well too. Being calm and relaxed is what we all feel, what we all want and what we all probably desire, but it's not always possible within every situation as well too. So make sure that obviously calm, response and relaxed is the approach that you're going for. It's the approach you're trying to get more consistent at. But try not to expect that level at every single situation. I have to be calm and relaxed. Sometimes people have a lot of fear within maybe a situation or a challenge. Maybe risk levels increase. Maybe the possibility of something majorly going wrong for an individual, or the impact of maybe something that's happened within your environment based on this individual. For example, maybe they broke something, maybe they've smashed something that means a lot to you. Well, there's various variables that can impact on how you react and how you respond. So while their desire is they always try and get adult figures in that mode of the more relaxed and calm you are, the more that you can approach an individual with a settled, regulated tone, a settled, regulated appearance, and basically how you can try and enhance that or actually get that across to an individual will always be beneficial. But again, it might not always be possible. So try and work on it, try and get establishments where you kind practice it and get round that for yourself. And again, the more consistent you can get that, the more that response and reaction will become quite natural to you. And what you'll usually find as well, that it'll have a good positive impact on this individual. Because again, sometimes when we get heightened in our reactions, our responses, our approaches to individuals, they'll feed off that as well too, which again might increase their level of intensity or the duration or the frequency of their display within a situation or scenario. So that's one kind of aspect that we would often say about. The other one for adult figures as well too is ensuring that whatever your target is in terms of behaviour, whatever the outcome that you're kind of looking for, that consistent progress that you're looking for, make sure it's achievable for this individual and for yourself. Make sure the expectation that you put on yourself and the individual are within reason in terms of the sort of progressive pieces that you can move forward with, the consistency levels that you can get kind of involved in. And even when it comes to the likes of consequences and stuff, I mean, we work with parents a lot of the time as well that, you know, obviously if there's a negative display, our first thought is to put on a consequence or an outcome that's undesirable for an individual. So a small sample one, which is quite common in most households, is if a negative behaviour was to occur, or if you pass a level of boundary or threshold with your behaviour that they feel is not acceptable, that's inappropriate or whatever within your home environment, say for example. So say for example, a kid was cursing, or they threw a level of tantrum and threw things across the table or across a room or something like that, or their language was bad, as I say. You might see that as, look, that's not appropriate, so therefore I'm going to come up with a consequence, which might be you can't play your PlayStation the rest of the day, or you can't access going outside now for the next period of time. Be careful in terms of your time frames with things, is one of the areas that I always work on with people and tell them about as well. Our natural instinct at time, especially if this individual is quite challenging on a regular basis, especially if the adult figure in terms of the reaction responses, they feel like it's not effective, it's not having any impact. That leads to frustration, that leads to that sort of building of I can't do anything, I'm not having any impact, nothing's happening. And what tends to happen there is we add more time frames onto pieces. So people would often say to me, they did this behaviour, John, I didn't like, so I took their PlayStation away from them for a week, or they weren't allowed to go outside for a week, or they weren't allowed access to something or some form of variable that would have been valuable to them for an extended period of time. Your difficulty with things like that is that you lose the opportunity, the impact on positive behaviour when you do that. You also put yourself under a level of pressure, because once you've set a time frame, what a lot of people try and do, or most of people do, is they overanalyze that then in terms of if this individual's behaviour improves, if it gets better, if they start to display the behaviours that I want, well, if I go back on my role there, my consequence, then they're not going to learn, or they'll feel that basically if you do something negative, if I behave appropriately for a few hours or a day or two, everything will go back to normal. And I'm trying to say to them, but if you don't put a time frame on it, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have that pressure on yourself. plus the fact that it enables you to actually look at behaviour then in terms of negative behaviour. We might have applied a consequence, which is perfectly fine for anyone to do. The adult figure feels that's comfortable. If we feel that's achievable and acceptable within the situation, if we know that individual will have an understanding of that and a level of acceptance toward it, then that's fine, not a problem. And if you feel that's going to have an impact and be more effective, fine, no problem. The only side that I would change is the time frame. If you remove something, or if you're going to say you can't go outside, you can't do something now, you're better off kind of coming on with an outcome that's delivered like this. Well, now you can't have your PlayStation because of that negative behaviour, and I will decide when you can have that back based on a change here now. So if you show me how well you can behave, if you can show me better behaviour, if you can give an example even of what you want based on that, then if you show me that, then I'll decide when it comes back. So you haven't put any time frame on it. You've shown them exactly why it's been removed, and you've told them how to gain access to it back. That allows you now to be in control, based on control of I've removed something because of a behaviour, but I'm also now in control of presenting that back when I feel there's been an appropriate level of behaviour displayed, or something more appropriate, something that I want to add a level of value to. And again, in terms of time frames, folks, it might depend on the level of behaviour that was there and how much it's impacted on you or impacted on the environment. But you don't want time frames to be too long, because again, your expectation level, do we really expect an individual to behave a certain way appropriately for a week before you access something back? Is the value in that and measure with the punishment, if you want, that's kind of been in place there? Probably not. And again, we want to be fast acting whenever we see appropriate behaviour. We want to build value here. We want to promote positive more so than look at reducing something for negative. So we're always looking for positive behaviour to be occurring so that we can add value there. So again, depending on what's maybe going on, if you see a level of appropriate behaviour that's been sustained for a period of time that you think, God, that's really good, they're doing really well, we want to act on that as fast as we possibly can. So possibly we've removed the PlayStation, maybe for the next 3 or 4 hours their behaviour is immaculate, it is perfect, then we have that opportunity to kind of go, I can act on this now, show you that this is amazing, this is exactly what I want, and I can present that back. But you're in control of it, you've dictated it, and basically all you're showing them now is look what's presented, look what arrives, look what can be available when your behaviour is like this. So now you're promoting positive behaviour even though you've had an outcome based on negative there. And again, it's always there, it's always optional. Just because they've got it back doesn't mean, oh, no, now everything's back. If a negative was to occur again, you can do the same process. It's fine, it's not a problem. But you always want to impact on positive, because people need to see what value is there within me doing this type of display. What am I getting out of what's presented, what's coming more often. And when values are coming more for positive behaviour, then individuals tend to do that more. They tend to react to that more. So therefore, the likelihood is that level of behaviour will continue or will be more progressive, and you'll see more of it, which is basically the outcomes that we're looking for here. A lot of the time we're trying to impact on negative, yes, but we're trying to promote positive, add more value to positive, so that basically there's more value, there's more outcome based on these types of displays. There's only 1 or 2 areas to kind of think about, but again, they're important. They're aspects that can be kind of generalised. There's loads of other areas, but I think them two is probably the most common, and I just thought I would kind of highlight for you here this evening. So again, look, have a wee think about it, put it into your thought process, as I always say to people, when you're managing an individual or trying to impact positively. And again, it might have that wee kicker on that you're kind of looking for. It might take you that extra length in terms of progression. So again, hopefully you've understood it, folks. Again, like always, if you're ever having you're involved in an individual, who maybe is impacting negatively, you need a bit of support around, a bit of information, feel free to get in contact. Obviously all the information's on the Facebook page and the Instagram page. And just get in contact and we can set up a wee consultation to discuss a few areas. Thank you.